Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to the first replay material I have for you from patch 9.3. Now today I'm going to show you a pair of games from this machine, the British Tier 7 Premium Tank Destroyer, the AT-15A. So, a couple of things. Firstly, hopefully all my software settings should now be correct, so there shouldn't be any dubious audio or visual quality, hopefully. Secondly, the reason I'm showing this is that the game is now into patch AA 9.4, and as of patch 9.4, Wargaming have decided to give two of the premium tanks in the game a bit of love, a bit of a buff. They are the Chinese Tier 8 medium, the T-34-3, and to that they have buffed its reload time and its dispersion, so basically it will reload faster and be more accurate. And they've also buffed this machine, the AT-15A. They've buffed this in two ways. Firstly, it's getting a hit point pool buff, where I believe it's 200 hit points, so it's going from 850 to 1050, which will bring it, broadly speaking, in line with same tier medium tanks rather than the same tier tank destroyers. So this is emphasising the role of the AT-15A as the frontline kind of breakthrough tank. The second way in which it's getting buffed, and in my opinion the more important way in which it's getting buffed, is that it is, let me just quickly turn colorblind mode on if I can, it is having its matchmaking changed, so that it will no longer see Tier 9 games. This is a very important change, because previously this machine was great in Tier 7 games, meh in Tier 8 games, and appalling in Tier 9 games. It basically carries the same gun, or buffed version of the same gun that you get on the Black Prince. So anyway, I thought I would show you this tank as of patch 9.3. So from patch 9.4, which has now been released onwards, this is getting a buff. So initially what you notice is the rate of fire on this gun is pretty good, but the alpha damage is bad. Now, that guy just put a big shot into me. It was a well-aimed shot, but it was also a lucky shot. The armor on this tank is good, but there are weak spots. And now we're just gonna plump shot straight through his lower plate. Oh no, he's backed off. So one of the big differences that the buffs to this tank will make, oh, he's tracked and giving me his lower plate, so we'll take advantage, is that when you have 850 hit points, you're not a reliable two-shot for Russian 122mm guns, but it's not that unlikely that it will happen. They do an average of 390 damage per shot. You have 850 health. They only need two kind of high damage rolls to do it. With 1050 hit points, it will be a very, very, very rare occurrence that those guns will two-shot you, which will be really nice. And so I'll probably be playing this more. It's worth pointing out, although I appreciate that this tank was not fantastic before, I do think that this tank, well, it's been a lot of fun for me to drive, and I've done quite well in it. You know, I've got something like a 57% win rate in it, or something like that. Put a shot into that IS-2. Something that puts a lot of people off is the low alpha damage and relatively low penetration of this gun. So it's a 17-pounder, 150 average damage, 171 average penetration, but you do have to bear in mind it's got 0.33 dispersion at 100 meters, so it's very accurate. Don't mix up the high rate of fire with high DPM. I mean, this thing doesn't have the DPM of the E25, for example, but DPM's not horrific for a Tier 7 tank. Oh, this game is not looking good, but the rate of fire is very, very nice to have. Also, it has a very wide gun arc. So flanking around this thing, despite the fact that it's slow and ponderous, is actually not a trivial task. So, Crusader. It's also got a very good aim time. Put a shot into him. 410. I think you can probably see the way this game's going. We're just trying to back off, seeing if we can deal with the guys behind us. If we could kill that IS-2, that would be fantastic. Or work over that Tiger, that would also be good. Alas, here, in order to do anything to the Tiger, I'd have to present my weak spot. No shot on the IS-2. Oh, wait, yes I have. He bounces on me, I don't bounce on him. Take a blind shot, but no joy. And so, whereas the AT2 is where the armour on the British TD line is kind of at its best, there's also a sweet spot at tier 7 here with the premium vehicle, the AT-15A, because you're getting basically the same armour as you get on the AT-15, but a tier lower at tier 7. And in a tier 7 game, the armour of this tank really is worth something. I've got a couple of videos up, one in particular on Himmelsdorf, where I rack up a very nice amount of damage and kills, and just kind of wreck the enemy team. Oh look, it's a TOG. Oh, we take a shot in the side. There are a lot of TOGs around in this patch after the mission to get your hands on one. Put another shot into the A43, and then I die to an AMX AC-46. So, I was the last tank left on my team. I didn't get any kills, but I got a very respectable damage count and high caliber. After the buff, what difference would that have made in that game? Not a huge amount. I'd have had an extra 200 health to play with, so I could have taken an extra shot. I could have racked up a little bit more damage before I died. I wouldn't have magically turned the game into a win, but a bit more damage before I died would have been nice, The buff would have been welcome. But anyway, that was a kind of irritating game. I did well, team not so much. But there we go. I couldn't secure any kills, and if you can't secure any kills, you're going to lose the game. Anyway, take a look at the post-battle results, and then we'll jump into game number 2. Here we go with game number 2. Now you can see the matchmaking here is rather less generous. We're no longer top tier. In fact, we are the only tier 7 on... No, that's a lie, there's a couple of T29s. We are one of only 3 tier 7s on our side, and there are 3 tier 7s on the enemy side. So, this is a tier 8 game, which as of the time at which I played this, and I played these 2 games back to back, time at which I played this, this is sort of the middle matchmaking that you get in this. You can see tier 9 games, of course. As of patch 9.4, this will be the worst matchmaking you can see, a tier 8 game. Now initially I was trying to be a bit cautious because the armour on this machine is not worth anywhere near as much in a tier 8 game, and I was thinking of going over to this side of the map to support that light tank, back up the be one of the tank destroyers overwatching that area, but frankly we've got fire support over there, including a Tiger 2 who seems to have made it his mission in life to give someone fire support in a tier 8 game. I'm going to assume he's relatively inexperienced. And so seeing as we've got one of our top tier heavy tanks missing from the standard heavy tank push area, I guess I will try and go and fill his boots. Irritatingly, this is a 9.3 replay, not 9.4, so the replay timer... sorry, not replay timer, the reload timer is still not working. I don't know if they fixed that in patch 9.4 replays. I guess I'll find out at some point. But one thing you can see very clearly is that in common with the other tier 5 to 9 British tank destroyers, this thing is pretty ponderously slow. Speed is limited to 20 kilometers an hour. Now you can fractionally exceed that going downhill, as you just saw. I think I hit a mighty 22. But basically don't expect to go any faster than 20 anywhere. One could argue therefore that actually the acceleration up to its top speed of this machine is pretty good, but that's more because the top speed is very low than the engine is especially spectacular. As you'll have noticed from the last game, this tank is very much about bouncing shots. With the wide gun arc you can actually angle your armour, which is perhaps a little unusual in a tank destroyer, and you can kind of side scrape in this thing. Try and deny enemy shots at your weak points, and just keep peppering them with this 17-pounder gun. Which is more than accurate enough, generally speaking, to pick out their weak spots, often even from range. Frustratingly, the same gun on the tier 6 British tank destroyer, the AT-15A, actually gets better accuracy, but whatever. Only marginally, but I'd have liked them to bring that into range, but, who cares, frankly. It doesn't really make any difference. So, initially I'm just coming over here to see if I can give this Hellcat a hand, and there we go, AMX-12T has taken some pain, because an AMX-12T can make a Hellcat's life incredibly difficult, but not when they're dead. So there's kill number 1. And I bounce a shot there, we back off, And I think I pop back up here to see if there's anyone else I can shoot at. But I am rather conscious of the fact that there's quite a lot of enemy tanks at A1, B1 and C1. You know, all their heavy tanks pushing around. And we just lost our Hellcat to an SU-152 in the end anyway, but whatever, I kept him alive a little bit longer. So we decide to go up and join our heavy tank push and put some fire into the enemy heavies. And again, we're going uphill, so our speed is, you know, something. Our speed keeps our speedo keeps fluctuating all over the place, but you're looking at something around 12, 13, 14 kilometers an hour. Not exactly fast by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I'm taking the outside lane here, if you will, the right-hand side, because it should allow me to get shots on the enemy sooner, and there's no artillery in this game, so I don't have to worry about that. British tank destroyers, because they're large, slow, ponderous, and despite their good armour, they don't have very good roof armour, what tank does, really don't like, bye-bye KV2 using the wrong gun, really don't like to be hit by artillery. There goes the Churchill. Why do I say the KV2 was using the wrong gun? He was using the 107mm gun. If you're going to use that gun, you are playing a bad T150. The KV2 is all about the 152mm derp. If you're not using that gun, why are you playing the KV2? Do not understand. Anyway, managed to put some shots into those fellows, but, you know, our guys have pulled a bit of a blinder, and the scoreline is currently 8-3. It looks like this game might be a bit the opposite to the previous game, which would be nice. As I say, I played these games back to back. So, T-34 has a terrible reload. These guys seem determined to make sure that I can't shoot him. Try and take the chap's tracks off, succeed, and this is where the rate of fire is very nice. You can just keep this guy permatracked, even though your DPM isn't necessarily spectacular, but you can still keep him permatracked, and there we go. He is dead. Tiger 2 is also dead. There's the Super Pershing, just lining up a shot at his weak spot. He damages my tracks. He's on 8 health. One more shot will finish this guy off. Ah well, someone else does the dirty deed for me. And we're just going to keep trundling forwards. Not even bothering to stop. Oh, now we stop. Again, we're just going to keep that chap permatracked, but our last shot ends up killing him anyway, so it doesn't matter. And there's just a Nashorn and a Jagdtiger 88 left. And the other big difference, of course, this will make is that because this tank will no longer see Tier 9 games, it means that you won't end up firing as much APCR. You can see I carry 10 rounds of it, and it's basically to deal with Tier 9 tanks. And thus, it might actually mean that this machine can make some credits. It already has cheap regular AP ammunition, which is nice. And we pick up the kill on him, don't even bother stopping. So it might mean that it's actually a respectable credit earner. There is one advantage to being slow and ponderous. It means that you actually have very good on-the-move accuracy, as you could see there. So you just keep trundling forwards. If this thing could have fit a vertical stabilizer, it would be quite funny, but it can't. And someone else picks up the Jagdtiger 88 kill, and there we go. Tier 8 game, which will be the worst matchmaking you see in the next. You see once this has been buffed. 4 kills, very respectable. That ended up being first-class mastery and was generally a pretty decent game all round. So, take a look at the post-battle results. I thought I'd bring you this just to show you what an unbuffed AT-15A is like. As of patch 9.4, this machine will be better, so I leave it up to you as to whether you might be interested in it or not. If you enjoyed that or found it vaguely informative, please feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao ciao.